A few of you have asked what's in my toolbox, so let's get after it. This is my US General Series 3 56-inch toolbox, 56-inch Hutch with two 22-inch end lockers on either side. Now, I don't have what normal people have in their toolbox. I'm not a mechanic, so I don't have a lot of sockets and wrenches and stuff. I have tools for just about every trade. I'm a house guy. I do DIY, handyman stuff, so that's what's in here. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start with the Hutch first, and then we'll go through the drawers, the end lockers, and I got a little welding tool cart over there. I'll show you guys the last. So let's start at the Hutch. All right, so just to start, I just threw a light up here, right on a pull chain, on or off. Got the Icon puck light. You've seen this in a lot of my videos. Love that light. Small level. Assortment of screwdrivers. These are just my ones that I beat up, use daily. Snap-on. Some Milwaukee ones. They had the magnetic tip on them. Got Phillips and straight. I'll do a review on these. I'm not that much of a fan of them, but I'm not a fan of Milwaukee hand tools in general, so it is what it is. Just my manuals and notebooks and stuff for when I'm sketching stuff. I have the US General mini toolbox in purple. It complements the gray. In here I just keep some welding lenses or tools or just the badges to my truck so I don't lose them. Here I keep headphones, keys, whatever else. And then the bottom one is my scanner and little screwdrivers and picks and stuff. I haven't really figured out what I want to do with it yet. A lot of the times I'll put my headphones or my mic for recording in there or camera stuff in there. It gets multiple different uses. But got my Gulu. This is what I use to jumpstart my cars when I'm in the garage. I'll do a review on this on Amazon. Always got to have the jack and the little jack for those late nights, you know. Here's my Harbor Freight glove holder. I'm not a fan of these. My gloves fall out quite a bit, but maybe they hold the tissue box a little better. I'm not really sure. Hand sanitizer. I use this more for like cleaning whiteboards and stuff, but I guess if you got to make sure your hands are clean. Utility blades. My small collection of mini buckets. I got a very large collection of mini buckets in the house, but these are just a couple. This came with it, I believe. Yeah, this one came with the box, and it's just chocked full of stuff. Knives, safety glasses, scissors, calculators, knives, whatever. My Milwaukee flashlight. I did a video on this, I believe. I love this flashlight. Towel holder. I just buy the Harbor Freight shop towels. Super cheap, super easy. 2 pairs of gloves, an old pair and a new pair. Up here is just pens and pencils. Again, it's an absolute mess, but just pens and pencils in there. Off bug spray. I don't know why this is in here, but I guess I do get mosquitoes. So here's my Allen key set right here. A lot of you guys hate this set. I like it. I don't have a problem with it. It's cheap and easy. My Milwaukee light. This is the one I'll grab and I'll throw underneath cars or whatever. I like that one. My trays for nuts and bolts. If I'm working on a project, you can throw these anywhere. Super helpful. I also just picked up the Icon mat. I'll have to do a video on this, but it is crazy the stuff that it sticks to. So anyways, this is my Hutch. Do a lot of thinking in this Hutch. A lot of writing stuff down, keeping my phone up here, camera gear up here, stuff like that. So I'm going to dive into the top drawer. All right, so we'll start off with a 4x4 hub socket for like an older Chevy or Ford. You guys can correct me. I needed these on my J20 when I was taking out the front axle. I needed to get in there. All right, so I got specialty stuff for TJs down here. Some Jeep TJ stuff. My T's 25 through 55 or whatever it is. And then just some other specialty odds and ends stuff. O2 sensor socket. Tecton O2 sensor socket. That's been really nice whenever I've done exhausts or catalytic converters or just O2 sensors. I'm glad I didn't have that for the longest time. 3/4 inch, 1 5/16 inches for my pinions on my Dana 44 and Dana 60 axle. All right, you guys can roast me in the comments. I don't really care. But I need to figure out something better. I need to get a whole new socket set. I want to go with Tecton sockets and get a nice master socket set, but it's $600, and I just can't justify it right now. So this is what we're working with here. This is my Boss Stitch kit. I've had this since I was 16. It was my first kit. I love the black chrome. It served me well. It goes in a nice little container, but this is all basically just my 1/2 inch stuff. We do have some 3/8 and 1/4 inch in here. I don't really use it for that. I use mostly just the 1/2 inch. We got some extractors here. We got all our different array assortments of extensions, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, 3/8. This is the Icon adapter set. I like this set. I use this a lot to go from 1/2 inch to 3/8 because I use my Milwaukee Impact set quite a bit. Ratchets, I don't have very many. There's a lot of guys on here that have a ton of ratchets. I don't. I just have my Stanley, Icon, and gear wrench. And then here's a couple snap-on ones. These ones are really cool. This is like a small snap-on, but it's got the 3/8 on it. It looks super funny when you put a 3/8 on there. I like this one. Quick little stuff, throw this in a bag if you don't need much torque on there. Here's another, here's just a Stanley one, gear wrench one, and then my Icon flex head 3/8. Here I got a snap-on, 1/2 inch. This one's really nice. And I just got my Boss Stitch one, and then I got 2 Icon 1/2 inch ones for when I need to break stuff. I gotta say my favorite ones in here are the gear wrench ones. I use this one's the most. I think the size is perfect on them, and I've never had a problem with gear wrench. I bought the Icons thinking I'd absolutely love them, which I do, but they're a little clunky to me. They're a little bit bigger than I would hope so. But I just picked them up, so maybe I'll like them. I do like the Stanley as well when I don't want the comfort grip. So moving on, this is just my Milwaukee Impact set here. I keep this one in the case because I put it in my car all the time, and I also carry it over to my Jeep when I'm working on it, either in the garage or outside. So I keep this in the case. I'll do a video on this one of these days as well. And these are just my big Impact sockets, my 1/2 inch stuff. These are just your Harbor Freight ones, 6-point and 12-point, standard and metric. And I use these when I'm really in some deep trouble. So I like these ones. These are nice. But like I said, I like to get all Tecton stuff or Icon stuff and really have this drawer looking nice. All right, so our wrench drawer here. Again, it's embarrassing, but here's my 3/8 inch sockets and 1/4 inch sockets. I use my Milwaukee set from the last ones. This set I use more than anything else in here, so I just have this here, and then I grab whatever 3/8 I want, and that will covers 90% of what I'm doing. But if I need something else or I need 2 of them, I grab the gear wrench ones. Here's just some Milwaukee ones I picked up. We were getting rid of them at work, so I grabbed it's not a complete set, but I do have a complete set of the Harbor Freight nut drivers, the Pittsburgh ones. They work for what I need them for when I use them. I don't use them often, but when I do for a hose clamp or whatever, they are nice to have. The Icon pick set, I do have just the $2 pick set, and then I have the Icon ones. I bought these before they came out with the green ones, so whatever. I wish they were green, though. These have been pretty good. I already bent the tip on this one, though, and some other stuff. You can't go real hard on these. I heard that Tecton makes a really nice one, so maybe I'll give those a try someday, but the Icon ones have been really good. Here's my torque adapter. Just your 1/2 inch one. This has been pretty good. When I was doing my engine stuff, I used this a lot. Some random bits here that came out of a case that I just threw there. These are Pittsburgh line wrenches. I don't use these often except for maybe when I'm doing brake lines or cooler lines on something. When I do need line wrenches, though, they are extremely nice. They're Pittsburgh, so they're bound to break at some point, but I haven't broken them yet. Crescent wrenches, I bitch about these all the time. I absolutely hate them. They're the worst crescent wrenches or adjustable wrenches that I've ever used in my entire life. Someday I'll get new ones, but they do their job. They're fine. Moving on. Gear wrench. all the way from 5 all the way up to 19. And then this one is quarter all the way up to 3/4. No skip. That's why I love gear wrench. I know Icon's doing it now where they don't skip either, but I figured that I found that gear wrench was like the first company to do the no skip in this kit. I picked up this kit together for like $175 one Black Friday, like, I don't know, 6 years ago. And it's been great. I love these wrenches. Haven't broken one. Ratcheting ends on them. These are just offset wrenches. I don't have all the sizes, just got a couple different ones. And then these are just random big stuff that I've needed in the past and I've borrowed from somebody and I guess never returned. Here's one that didn't fit here. And then here I got my 1/4, 3/8, and half torque wrenches. I hate these torque wrenches, but yeah, that's why I went out and bought this. I wanted to try it. I'm looking for new torque wrenches, but like I said, I don't do much mechanic stuff. So what I do have for mechanic stuff, which is about this is about it. It gets me by with what I need to do. So, all right, next one is pliers, tape measures, cutters. So we got pliers here, a vast assortment of pliers. Some Crescent stuff up here, some Milwaukee stuff, Crescent stuff, and then I've been picking up all the Icon ones as they go on sale or as I need necessary. I do really like the Icon stuff. As far as pliers go, I just picked these up. Haven't had a chance to give them a try yet, but I do like those. Linemen's have seen a little bit of use here. Those have been really nice. But I would say the one that I use the absolute most is this Milwaukee needle nose. This has been good to me. I love this one. Here's my Milwaukee wire strippers that I did a video on last week. These have been fantastic. Here's a different one. Here's a little different tool here. This puts holes in siding. So you like folds the lip over and you can tuck it up underneath like a J-channel or whatever. That's an interesting one in a toolbox. Here's just a pair of scissors for when I gotta cut shingles or whatever. Just industrial size scissors. Some vice grip stuff. Here's a cutter. I think it's my dad's. He left it up here when we were drywalling. Just a cheap cutter. And then I got all my Milwaukee knives. Well, some of them. I don't think they're all of them in here, but my little fastback collection. My Hawksbill knife for those electrician guys. Small little fastbacks. Old school fastbacks with the all aluminum body. These ones are super nice. Same with this one. And then here's a little one. I bent the piss out of the clip so it doesn't stay in my pocket anymore. But here's a Milwaukee. Just your normal box cutter. Holds, I think, 5 or 6 blades in the back. Nice for drywall. Milwaukee snap one. Snap them off. I've never seen replacement blades, so I'm scared to snap the last 3 off. But there. Little 6-foot tape measure. Absolutely never use it, but it was a novelty, so I have it. And then my assortment of Milwaukee tape measures, I've gotten them multiples for Christmas or whatever. That's why I have so many of them. But 25-footers with the magnets. I got a couple of those here. 25-footers compacts, and then my 16-foot compact that I use most of the time. Guarantee you it's off by 1/8 of an inch, but you know what? We just add a blade. There's another one that I grab if I need 25. I'm not a fan of these at all. They're way too clunky, way too big, and I don't like the magnet on the end. This is something that you don't really see in a toolbox all the time, but digital angle finder from Klein. I bought this for setting my axle trusses on my 1-tons for my Jeep. So when I use this, I'll let you guys know how it goes. Next. All right, next drawer we got screwdrivers and some other woodworking type tools, some chalk lines. So here's my Klein's circuit breaker finder. That goes in an outlet. This goes on your circuit panel, and you can find what breaker that is to the outlet. It's got adapters for the old school outlets without a ground, or even for a light. So some more electrical stuff here. I have a outlet tester, digital outlet tester, pop GFCIs with it, make sure the outlet's hooked up correctly. Voltage tester, put it on any live wire before I do wiring. Lets me know that it's live or not. My Klein multimeter that you've probably seen in some videos recently. I picked this up in a 3-pack for like 50 bucks at Home Depot, and it's all been fantastic. I absolutely love it. Maybe someday I'll get the Fluke one of these, but this Klein's been perfect. Here's kind of an oddball Milwaukee tool that not many people talk about. I don't even know what it's called really, but you can take that out, throw that there. It's got the sleeve. A lot of people like to buy this just for the sleeve. It's got a wire strippers at the end, and it keeps multiple different bits. All right, moving on. I got two chalk lines. I got one blue, one red, just in case. Here's a pipe reamer, in case I ever need a pipe reamer. And then I have a riv nut and rivets. Same with this one down here. One set up permanently for nut zerts, and then one's for rivets. Oil filter wrenches, both big and small. You get them in a 2-pack, so I had to buy a 2-pack. This is one of those weird custom tools that I built. It's just, this is stuck on here. I had to go over like a ball joint or something at one time, so I don't want to keep this in here, but it doesn't fit in the case anymore with the socket, and I can't get the socket off, so it's just what it is. All right, this cuts holes in ducting. So you drill your hole in, and then you punch this in the center, and you put a drill in there, and you spin it. This is how you get like your round ducts to go in your square ducts when you're doing like heating and cooling for houses. Sink basin wrench. This is all my Milwaukee mini screwdrivers here. Just really fine stuff for like, not quite watches or whatever, but just fine stuff for me to find it. Here's a seal puller with an extra head on it. I've used this a few times for doing like the crankshaft seal or the camshaft seal. Here's a hammer stapler for tar paper or outside sheeting or whatever. Siding removal tool. Put that up underneath your siding, zip it along, and it takes a piece of siding out and you can replace siding. We got plug cutters. If you're doing some fancy woodworking, drill that in there, cuts your plug, and then you can drill your hole, screw it down, and then replug it with this or with the core that you took out of there. Plumb bob for if you're putting vents in or something. I hang that up there, drop it down. I know exactly where to cut my hole or where to line up my board or whatever. Something nice to have in the toolkit if you need it. Copper cleaner, copper tubing cleaner. Put your copper in there, spin it inside and outside. Wood chisels, cheap wood chisels from Harbor Freight. They absolutely suck, but I don't use chisels often. Just maybe when I got to set a door jamb or something, that I'll use that. Here's a saw that I bought for woodworking, but I actually never used it before, so I don't really know why I have it. I don't even know if I bought it, really. I don't know where it came from, but it's kind of like a push-pull type saw. Maybe it's just a pull saw. I don't know. I got my two 16-in-1 screwdrivers. Well, one's a 16, and this one's probably 11-in-1 or something. This is the Harbor Freight $2 one. Somebody commented that they really liked these, and I didn't have one because I had my Milwaukee one, but I went out and bought this one, and now I just keep it in my car or whatever. Quinn screwdrivers. I just picked these up. I was getting sick of my Milwaukee ones, and I wanted to try something new, so I just picked these up the other day. They're like 15 bucks. They definitely feel like they're 15 bucks, but we're going to give them a try. I'll do a video on them and see how they go. All right, so this one we got hammers, pry bars, body tools. So I got axes, hatchets in here. I just keep them in here because they're quick grab when I need them outside. 5-pound, 2-pound, pipe wrench, pry bars. I actually love these pry bars. I think I've done a video on them before. Haven't broke a single one, and I've put a lot of weight on them. Other pry bars, wood pry bars for when you're doing construction type stuff. Body tools, ball peen. I'm not a body guy. I got these from my grandpa, so I'm not quite sure, but they are helping me right now doing the body work on my truck. So I don't know the names of these. I know they're a hammer and like a dolly. That's all I really know. So help me out here. Comment down below what the body tools are called. Milwaukee framing hammer. Bunch of different assortment of framing hammers. When people were up here to help me build my house, they just kind of left their hammer and never took it home with them. So I'm going to have to make a delivery to the family and bring all their hammers back. Here's my Milwaukee 16 ounce. I like this hammer a lot. Use that one mostly. And then, of course, the Milwaukee 3-pound sledge, which has been fantastic. All right, I think that's it for the hammer drawer. Let's move on. All right, so this one is all my power tools. I run mostly Milwaukee stuff. I don't know if I'll go over all of them. Well, I'll go over all of them. Palm sander, router, M12 hacksaw, 90-degree 3/8 impact. Absolutely hate this tool. Maybe I'm using it wrong, but I think it sucks. 1/4-inch fuel impact, M12, just regular drill. The older one to this, the non-fuel M18. My favorite tool in here, the 3/8 impact. I use this one the most, and I thought this one would be like this one or vice versa, but no, this one's way better than that one. 3/8, just powered ratchet type thing. M12, used it a few times. There has its places. Jigsaw, 1/4-inch impact M12, 1/4-inch impact M12, 1/4-inch impact M12, and then I have M18, the fuel 1/2-inch impact. This is for, stuff's about to get real when you bring that out. Just your normal, not fuel, Milwaukee M18 drill. I burned this one out last year building a deck. It still works though, so maybe I didn't burn it out that bad. I do want to get a fuel one. And I got the fuel impact from a buddy of mine. I bought it off him cheap. Well, I traded him another impact for this one. So I have to get the drill yet, but I haven't. So then we got oscillating multi-tool. I got 2 of them. Normally I keep the sanding pad on this one, but I just did a YouTube video, so I'll switch those over. I got the absolute horrible Milwaukee lights. I got them both M12 and M18. Then I had the M18 hacksaw. I do have some more M18 stuff. There's not in here right now. It's scattered throughout this thing, but that's the power tools. Let's move on to the last 2 drawers. This one's super simple. M18 batteries. You got your 12 volt all the way down to, I think the 5 is the smallest one I have. I don't go anything lower than 5 because it's useless to me. M12 stuff. I'd have more of them somewhere, but that's about it. All right, last one here for the drawers go, and then we'll do the side lockers. But this is just a heat gun, a random light, a spray gun that I've never used before. This is for, I'm going to use this on my fence this summer when I spray my fence. I'll use that. I also have some nail guns in there. And then I got another just cheap Husky sprayer for when I did my Jeep a few years ago. My corded drill, corded palm sander, stuff like that. Let's move into the end cabinets. All right, so I don't really keep too many tools in the both side lockers. It's more consumables and stuff, but easy. Just screws, nails, staples, whatever I need. This one I got my 100-foot tape measure, some shop vac filters, some chalk for my chalk lines, flooring tools, some random rope. Here's a ram set for putting nails into concrete. Post level. I got an electric drill in there, a large one for like mixing concrete and stuff. Funnels for oil changes, random thing of tape. Some tools for tuck pointing. I could probably throw that down there. Then my stud finder, caulking tool, orbital sander, DeWalt orbital sander. All right, moving on to the bottom. Next one here. Here's just some more odds and ends stuff: armor all, oil, brake clean, air oil. I got gloves and towels back here. I got some filters for my mask. These are my tapes: electrical tape, gas tape, Teflon tape, drywall tape. This is for like window seals, some more webbing tape for hanging duct work, and then some duct tape. And this is like a double-sided sticky tape type material. A line for when I need to pull a line on doing like a patio or something. And then down here, I just got winter gloves. I'm putting away winter stuff. So I got winter gloves. I got 3 different circular saws, my corded, my 6.5, and my 7 1/4. I did a videos on those not too long ago. 6-inch hole saw for cornhole boards or roof vents. This I had to buy one off for a roof vent. I was going through a bunch of shingles and stuff, so that one. I got some more concrete tools, edging tool, your normal just for laying block or whatever. Joint tool. This bottom one I keep air tools in. Framing nailer, DA sander, palm sander, 3-inch cutoff tool, and then this one, my belt, thumb file, belt file. I keep that one in here as well. This one is actually for putting, this isn't an air tool at all. This is for putting cabinet doors on straight. It's a cabinet hardware jig. I've used this plenty of times. I don't really understand it. To me, it's easier just to mark the cabinet and drill the hole, but I do have it in case I need it, I guess. All right. All right, so we got this end locker. This is all painting supplies, caulking supplies. I got some Pour 15 for my car frame, a mixing board for body work, brushes, respirators, all sorts of stuff. Same here, more painting stuff. I have a couple of these guns. They're $8, so I buy a couple of them and just throw them away when done. Throttle body intake cleaner, stuff like that. Just a bunch of stuff. Milwaukee M18 air pump. I love this for lawnmower tires or car tires quickly. Back behind here is just a battery trickle charger. You got my hole saws. Lots of use on those, just Harbor Freight ones, nothing special. This is my spring compressor kit. Use those a few times doing lift kits on Jeeps or Tacomas. Not really so much Tacomas, but Jeeps. Here is my snap ring, or not my snap ring. Yeah, snap ring. Pliers set. Brand new. I think I used one of them. Spent the money and haven't really even used them. Not my smartest choice of tools, but I wanted it, so. Here's a bolt puller set. Again, I think I used it for one job. Bought it. Don't use it again. Front end service kit I kind of seem to use a lot for different things, ball joints or whatever, on my truck especially. This is where that one in the cabinet was that I had to modify, so. And this is just a tap and die set. Just a cheap Harbor Freight tap and die for when I need just something quick and easy. All right, more, again, simple green, stripping gel, acetone, car wash stuff, chainsaw oil, weed whacker stuff. That's really about it. Maybe a random pipe cutter and some electrical connections. Other than that, not much in there. This one is all my drywall stuff. So drywall tape, an edger, paint shield edger, put that in trim or whatever. Some trowels, 5-in-1, caulk gun, 2 pans. It's like an icing bag for putting tuck pointing. It didn't really work the best for me, but all assortment of drywall knives in there. I keep them really rusty for some reason, I guess, but small, medium, large, drywall knife, body filler stuff. Obviously, I didn't clean this one last time, but corner trowel, I'll have to clean that off next time I used it. Rasp. All right, so that's about it for our US General 56-inch cart. I do have a Husky cart over there with welding stuff. Let's move over there. Anti-splatter. This is Knight's This is nice if you're welding around like a bolt. You don't get slag on your bolt or whatever if you're welding around it. So anti-splatter, nozzle gel, and nozzle clean when I'm MIG welding. Chipping hammer. Whoa, that's a hose. Part for a hose. Chipping hammer. Map gas. Fire extinguisher. Over here we got some welding gloves. Screwdrivers, zip ties, garbage bags. My different assortment of clamps, wood clamps, bungee cords. Here's some bigger clamps here for when I need to clamp something. 0305 welding wire. And here we got some strikers for my oxyacetylene torch. Some lubricating for drilling. M12 die grinder. TIG, MIG, stick, plasma, consumables here. We got files, punches, tip cleaners, the Miller gauge for checking how thick metals are. Soapstone. Not the biggest fan of soapstone, but I have some if I need it. Here is a tungsten grinder. Tungsten grinder. Put whatever size tungsten you have in there. Grind it. Here's like a drill bit that I had to make. It's like a 3-foot tall drill bit. 7018 stick rods. Jigsaw blades. Another pair of welding gloves. Step bits. Impact set. And then some carpenter's square type deals. Metal hacksaw. You cut pipe or something. I do have a corded die grinder as well, just a cheap Performax one. Welpers for whenever you need welpers. Here's a random bag of Allen keys. I don't really know why I have a random bag of Allen keys, but I do. Those will go in the trash next week. I have my M18 angle grinder here. I like this one because it's portable. And then I have 2 more corded angle grinders. One always seems to break right when I need one, so I have a second one for a backup. This drawer, quick and easy, just drill bits, step bits, hole saw bits, left-handed drill bits, and Sawzall blades in there. This one, we have another random assortment of hardware, and then all my spare wrenches that I've collected throughout the years. This needs to go away. So do those. All right. Next one. Grinding blades, flap discs, grinding discs, cutoff discs. Here's a stripping disc from Harbor Freight. Aluminum. Or this one's stainless. Steel one. I think I do have some aluminum ones in here somewhere. Some wire wheels, some more stuff for my die grinder for the air compressor. Just random stuff in there. This bottom one's full and kind of a pain, but these are just all my leads. So TIG torch, plasma cutter, ground cables, oxyacetylene, pedal wire for my TIG, ground clamps, random stuff like that. At the bottom, there's just jack stands, welding blanket, random stuff down there. There's another like 9-inch angle grinder down there, and then my foot pedal for my TIG torch. That's about it. Up here we just have air guns for blowing stuff off, some magnets. I have a couple more of these. I don't really know where they are right now. Just magnets for holding stuff, clamps for welding, headset for the walkers, and then these are for the fixture table, my welding fixture table, clamps for there. All right, so I think that wraps up the toolbox tour of the U.S. General tool cart and the Husky one. Roast me down in the comments below. Tell me how bad it is. Tell me how much it sucks. I don't really care. I'll do an updated one when I get more tools or whatever here in a couple of years maybe. But yeah. So anyways, I got stuff to do. I'll catch you guys later.